Sicario 2 follows the new mission of Matt and Alejandro, our old friends. The film was directed by Stefano Sollima and written by Taylor Sheridan, who we know from his other works. There is an explosion in a supermarket, which is believed to be caused by Mexican cartels and terrorists. As a result, Alejandro and Matt were tasked with planning a fake mission to take revenge on the suspects. They kidnapped Carlos Rice's daughter, Isabel, in order to start a war between him and a rival cartel. The team took Isabel to a safe house in Texas, where they staged a fake rescue operation to make her believe she was kidnapped by her father's enemies. They take her to a military base and then plan to abandon her in a territory controlled by her father's enemies in order to escalate the conflict between the cartels. However, things don't go according to plan. As Matt and his team cross the border into Mexico, police forces turn on them and attack. In the ensuing firefight, Matt and his team killed 25 enemies. During the chaos, Isabel escaped into the desert. Alejandro went after her alone, while the rest of the team returned to the United States. At the same time, the US government determined that at least 2 of the Kansas City bombers were not foreign nationals, and so the cartels are not responsible for what happened. In order to reduce tensions with Mexico, the Secretary of Defense instructs the CIA to terminate the mission. After finding out that Isabel witnessed the Americans shooting at Mexican police officers, Matt is instructed to erase all evidence, including Isabel's. And Matt, in turn, warns Alejandro and orders him to kill the girl. However, the prosecutor objects. Alejandro and the girl spent the night on a farm in the desert. Matt was well aware that if they stayed in Mexico, Isabel would be killed. With limited resources, they disguised themselves as illegal immigrants and paid coyotes to help them get back to the United States. Matt and his team flew secretly to Mexico, following the GPS device embedded in Isabel's shoes. At the point of departure to the border, Miguel, a young man who had been recruited as a smuggler, recognized Alejandro from a meeting in a parking lot in Texas 2 days earlier. He warned his boss, who then took the prosecutor and the girl hostage. As an initiation into the gang, Miguel was forced to shoot Alejandro. Upset by this act, Miguel left the gang and went alone. Matt witnesses Alejandro's murder via satellite imagery. His team then tracks down and eliminates the Mexican gang, rescuing Isabel. Rather than killing her, as instructed, Matt decides to take Isabel back to the US and place her in witness protection. Meanwhile, Alejandro regained consciousness and discovered that he had been shot in the cheek. He was being chased by bandits, but he skillfully got rid of their pursuit by throwing a grenade into their car. A year later, Miguel became a full-fledged member of the cartel after he unexpectedly met Alejandro in a supermarket. Alejandro asked him a rhetorical question, "So, you want to become a Sicario?" Why did Matt change his mind about killing Isabel? After the death of his friend and colleague Alejandro, Matt's life changed. Alejandro's death affected Matt in 2 very different ways. On the one hand, he regrets the loss of his comrade, but on the other hand, he is relieved that he didn't kill him. Matt realized that Alejandro would have put Isabel's life above his own, and this realization changed his perspective. Matt also had a daughter, and he felt obligated to save Isabel's life as a tribute to his friend. He realized that if Isabel went into witness protection, she would become inaccessible to both the cartel and mercenaries. What will become of Miguel? Will there be a Sicario 3? Alejandro helps Isabel escape from the cartel and government control, but he is not fully completing his mission. However, given that the CIA has placed Isabel under witness protection, it seems that his plan has not completely failed. Alejandro will also become invisible to the former leadership, as the government will officially declare him dead. In the final scene of the film, we see that Alejandro has not forgotten Miguel, because Miguel is the reason he is alive and free. Although Miguel seems like a promising candidate for the ruthless Sicario, there is one detail that prevents him from becoming a cold-blooded killer. Miguel has a conscience. I can't say for certain, but it seems to me that he deliberately shot Alejandro in the cheek, sparing his life due to his moral code. Do you agree? Write in the comments. A year later, we see Miguel with many tattoos all over his body. When he plans to meet with another member of the cartel inside the mall, Miguel unexpectedly runs into Alejandro. Alejandro wants Miguel to join him and asks if he would like to become a Sicario. His scene perfectly sets the stage for the 3rd installment of the franchise, hinting at the possibility that Alejandro and Miguel might join forces in the future. In June 2018, prior to the release of the sequel, the producers announced that a 3rd movie was in development. In January 2021, the producers expressed hope to begin filming the third installment of the franchise in the spring or summer of that year. The new film will be titled Sicario Capos, which means bosses in Spanish. And this means that soon we will see Alejandro, whom we already love, take revenge on those who were directly responsible for the deaths of his wife and daughter. I would like to know what you think about the second part of Sicario. I am waiting for your comments. If you like my content, please subscribe to the channel.